Vintage Super League. Hello and welcome to the first round of the final night of our play-in tournament. Rade is piloting a Grixis Therapy deck that's got a pretty sweet draw up on the top of your screen. David Ochoa is piloting a Mishra's Workshop that also has a pretty solid draw on the bottom of your screen. Looks like Ochoa has won the roll, and
that is the way more important thing here. Who won the roll?
Did win the roll. So you think that gives him the edge here, or is his hand actually powerful enough?
His hand is all mana, and his first big spell is going to get Force of Will.
He's got what? 7 mana?
Oh, he has like 9 mana on turn 1, right?
Mana. Yeah. So he can play both the Triskelion and the Sword on turn 1 if that's how he wants to play this?
That's I would probably lead with Lotus, Workshop, Triskelion. Maybe just bait with the Sword first, but then I would have not played the Lotus. Maybe Workshop Sword and hope for a counterspell, and then use the other mana to cast the Triskelion.
I think the question is, which one do you want to get Force of Will? You kind of figure you lead with the one you care less about.
Against the Pyromancer deck, you want to resource the Triskelion.
Well, he's leading with the Triskelion. That Sword is also going to destroy the Pyromancer deck. If he gets it onto a Revoker?
Yeah, but he only has 1 creature, and all that has Lightning Bolt, so...
All right,
it's not guaranteed, but yeah.
I mean, it's going to get equipped in a hurry with that much mana.
Oh, yeah.
Ochoa leads with Triskelion. Ula does Force of Will. That gives him a use for his Mental Misstep, too. And now, you just sack Lotus for Sword, right? Is he looking at Revoker?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think I would probably actually pass the turn here. And wait with the Revoker.
I would definitely wait with the...
Well, if probably deck fading. Yeah. He could have named Black Lotus now that his Black Lotus is gone, and that would have been pretty nice.
Insane versus Ula's hand. So he leads with the Revoker. I think the idea is that he wants to be able to attack with it next turn.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he has Sword active, and I mean, if there's no second Force of Will, I mean, there could be a Lightning Bolt, but we know there isn't. So
yeah, Lightning Bolt would destroy David Ochoa's hopes and dreams here, but we can see Ula does not have one.
Yeah, Ula probably just has to go Lotus into double Pyromancer, and then the Sword will start the dirty work.
Whew. He can't get to Treasure Cruise yet, can he?
No.
Sack the Lotus, no.
I mean, he could if he wanted to do nothing else that turn, but that seems...
Yeah, no, you gotta lead with Pyromancer first.
Yeah.
It's just a question of 1 or 2. I'm with you.
Maybe just 1, so you can actually cast the Treasure Cruise next turn for 5 mana. Like, you have a fetch land in your graveyard, you have a Lotus in your graveyard, you have 5 mana. Might be the best way to do this. But then his Pyromancer will be dead.
This Sword is going to do so much work. Oh my god.
I don't think he has anything in the main deck to get that even off the creature, right?
Well, hilariously, Dak Faden, I believe, is his only main deck answer, and Ochoa has already named it with the Revoker.
Yeah. I mean, Lightning Bolt, obviously, but
that's preemptive, not after it gets equipped, of course.
Yeah, probably just doesn't have an answer to the Sword.
Wow.
Even if he draws Demonic Tutor, I don't think he can get anything. I mean, No Road is too late, Lightning Bolt is too late. Yeah.
So 1 young Pyromancer is what Ula decides. He holds his Lotus.
Turns out having... Oh, wow.
It's not coming down this turn, but still.
Yeah, that's actually...
I mean, we'll see.
It's probably just a Sword, but that's tempting to cast both. I mean, these young Pyromancer decks, I mean, there's a reason they don't play Jace and only 1 deck Faden, because they don't want to play cards that cost 3 mana. And if your whole deck costs 3 mana, that is just... You can't play, usually.
Alright. Ochoa lead, there's the Sword.
The question is if he equips it.
Yeah, looks like
and he does.
I think I like this line.
I mean, I think that's probably game over. I wouldn't know what Ole can do. I mean, he could set up some insane turn with like Pyromancer, Time Walk, and the next turn Gush, and like, but that's the only thing he can do really.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ochoa could have drawn Camel that turn, and it still would have been game over. But Trinisphere, pretty good draw.
And Hangerback Walker. Also quite surprised that that guy made it.
He drew the deck! Oh, the blind name with Revoker pays off. Wow, that could have actually gotten him out of this. Except Ochoa. David played it great. I mean, that's what you blind name in this matchup. The one of Dak Faden.
That was perfect, yeah. Oh, that's only out.
This is.
He probably has to treasure cruise now and just hope for a miracle, but.
Yeah, it's what I think. It's the kind of treasure cruise you're like, me. I can't think of what I want to draw, but let's just draw the cards and see what they.
I mean,
hopefully I forgot something.
He probably has both the deck lists open next to him too, so
yeah,
he probably knows that there's nothing he can draw right now.
Maybe David can lose enough mana crypt flips that you can bolt him out.
That's not gonna happen.
I mean, Ochoa already won the first one.
I mean, this is 6 damage per turn, and all is on 14, so I don't think that's gonna happen.
3 lightning bolts and 2 mana crypt flips still doesn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you drew a couple of lightning bolts and a time walk with the pyromancer, then maybe.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You set up a time walk pyromancer turn.
But that's not going to happen with that hand.
Oh, this is like, if you could stack your deck, can you get out of this time?
Now he has to Force of Will the Trinisphere.
David loses the crypt flip. Down to 17. Yeah. Smash. 4 damage and a card.
Mainly wondering what David is going to sideboard at this point. Because this game is done.
Here's the Trinisphere.
Well, that gets Force of Will, but...
Yeah, I agree.
He probably has to Force of Will the Hangerback Walker too, just to keep creatures off the table. Oh, he double Force of Will. Nice. Yeah, that's
going out on his own terms. You can have both my Force of Wills, showing off the fact that he drew the deck by removing it. Wow. Now, we go to the sideboards.
I mean, Dave has 2 duplicates and 3 dismembers to deal with the Chasm Skulker, so I think he's on the safe side.
Yeah, we talked about how Ula's going to sideboard here. He has a bunch of cards that are very useful in this matchup. The Missteps come out, the Flusterstorm, the Pyroblast, and he gets a bunch of land and a bunch of Ingot Chewers. But what does Ochoa do?
I think he's bringing in the Crucible of Worlds, because he also knows that Ole is boarding in Strip Mine and 3 Wastelands. So I would definitely want to board in these 2. And afterwards, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, what is Wormcoil Engine 4 in the sideboard? It has to be this matchup, right? I mean, I can't think of another matchup where I would want Wormcoil Engine, so...
Yeah, it's pretty good against Ingot Chewer. Tango Wire's out seems to be David's plan.
Yeah, like Ole is trying to play a long game and has a lot of cheap removals, so Tangle, like sometimes you can just sit out Tangle Wire, and well, it doesn't seem to bring in the Crucibles right now.
He's kind of over to the side. Like, he's on 55 cards with that pile next to the Tango Wires, is I think the stuff he wants to bring in.
Dismember. I mean, Ole has... I mean, Ole doesn't have the card Delver itself, which is very, very good against workshops. Like, it sounds silly, but sometimes a turn 1 Delver just attacks 7 times.
I agree. Like, this is the matchup where Delver of Secrets shines, for sure.
I think it's the only matchup where it shines, to be fair.
And that's why you don't see so many Delvers nowadays. A lot of these decks are, Pyromancer with Cabal Therapy, where the Delvers used to be. Ravagers came out.
Sure, so the Crucibles are coming in. Yeah, the Ravagers coming out. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Did he bring in the Wormcoils? I don't think he did, but...
I don't think so.
What's Witchbane Orb? Is that for the Blue Belcher deck, I guess?
I guess. All right.
Tough to beat.
Game 2. The loser is out of the tournament. The winner advances and has is 1/4 of the way toward a VSL spot. We talked about how these guys already have a loss, so 4-0 tonight is how you get into the VSL from their seat. But
I mean,
that's what happened.
That was an easy keep for Ole even before he had a Colette mana, so judging from last week.
Funny.
He didn't seem to be afraid. I mean, that hand, the Gush and the Treasure Cruise. I mean, the Treasure Cruise gets enabled reasonably fast.
Yeah.
But no Pyromancer, no Force of Will, no artifact removal. I mean, I would probably keep it, but I would be very unhappy with that hand.
It's hard to mulligan one land Ponder Preordain, especially with Treasure Cruise on its way relatively soon.
Yeah. I mean, you probably go Black Lotus into Ponder and hope for a young Pyromancer. So then you can preordain with Pyromancer in play.
I'll buy that.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's below average for hands to keep, but it's a keeper.
But David's hand, on the other hand, is very good. That's a turn 1 Wormcoil engine.
These guys have had 4 Black Lotuses in openers between them.
Yep.
Playing some vintage. Preordain found a land.
Ugh, did he bottom, I guess?
Presumably. I don't think he would have kept Underground Sea on purpose.
Can't imagine, no.
Yeah, definitely bottom. Now here's Ponder. Ox Sapphire, Ingot Chewer, Force of Will. Those are better.
I mean, yeah, you definitely keep those. And
yeah, I mean, you want the Force of Will now. Ingot Chewer next turn. Yeah, sure. Play the fetch lane. I don't think he wants to crack this fetch lane, though, because he probably wants the Ingot Chewer. Found the Force of Will, though.
Yeah, but it's still going to take him a while until he can Treasure Cruise.
Well, he's not going to be facing down turn 1 Wormcoil engine. That part is good for Ula.
That's a pretty tough turn 1 for David. I mean, you could just brute force the Wormcoil engine and hope to win the game right there. But I think he just drew a black Mox, so he could go Workshop, Mox, Lodestone Golem, which is also great.
Save his Lotus. Yeah, I mean, he can play Golem and Revoker, hypothetically. He can lead Triskelion rather than Wormcoil if he wants to get that countered. Because he's got an Ancient Tomb, so he's got 6 mana next turn, even if he uses his Lotus now. I think I'd play a 6-drop.
Yeah, I would probably go with the Triskelion, though.
Sure.
That gets the Force of Will. Yeah. I mean, your opponent just didn't... Like, your opponent wasted mana, he didn't have a Pyromancer, and he used Preordained Ponder. I mean, he must have something, right? It's not a young Pyromancer, that would be in play right now.
Yeah, he's got Force of Will.
Yeah.
Or none of this matters because you're just winning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if he doesn't have a young Pyromancer, doesn't have a Force of Will, then you just win.
Oh, David might play the Ancient Tomb here rather than the Workshop since he knows about Ula's Strip Mine Wasteland sideboard plan. He gets to 6 with just the Ancient Tomb now that he drew a Jet.
Yeah, the damage is not very scary. Especially that since all the passed on playing a Pyromancer, so it's no pressure to be afraid of.
Yeah, I like Ancient Tomb for Triskelion here.
I think we're going with the Wormcoil engine.
I mean, that's the better one. It's show me a Force of Will or I win.
Yeah, I mean...
Ula says, yeah, I do have the Force of Will. Let's keep playing.
I mean, well, there's Deck Fade, but yeah. Like, the Deck Fade would be brutal, but...
Drac Fade, yes. Leading with getting Wormcoil stolen by Dag Faden is just the worst possible feeling from a Shop's deck.
So does he... He probably Strip Mines and English with the Mox now, right? And then next turn Treasure Cruises? That would be my line, at least.
It's a pretty good line.
That's pretty rough. Like, Ola has 4 cards left in hand.
It's a pretty good line. Leave David with 0 mana, and you're ready to Treasure Cruise? Yeah.
That's what we're doing. Very smart from David to not play the Workshop there. Otherwise, he would be sitting on an Ancient Tomb versus only mana source now.
That's a really good point.
But yeah, that's exactly 7 cards in all his graveyard now, so you can definitely Treasure Cruise next turn. Drawing another Mox would be another smart play.
How about Metalworker? It's pretty good.
Nearly. No.
It's pretty good. Next
It's
turn's great if it
pretty good.
survives.
But now, Oleg, I mean, if he either finds one of his 3 wastelands or lightning bolt, he's in a great spot, I think.
Well, it's not a wasteland because he's going to go ahead and play the Delta. He could have treasure cruised without before his land drop, hoping for wasteland there.
Yeah, I think that's better.
I think he really wanted to make sure he had red mana though.
But he does with the fetch land.
Yeah, the fetch land in his hand means that he can cast any lightning bolts. I agree.
Yeah.
I guess.
And
oh, he found the wasteland, but he already used his land drop.
yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter that much because the metalworker gives him a
Metalworker does make 6.
Lightning bolt. Anyone?
How about Ancestral?
Also not bad.
3 more. Sapphire into the preordained.
Cycling through the deck.
Yeah, he can't actually lightning bolt the metalworker now though. He doesn't have.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that doesn't work.
He can't draw the ruby and the bolt.
So next turn we're probably seeing a Triskelion and a Revoker. I wonder if he even names the Blue Mox because Ola has so much mana. Like, I might want to name Deck Faden.
He went bottom and then found Young Pyromancer off the blind draw. Wow. Now this is 8-11 mana? So this is what, Triskelion and Golem? Or do you throw a Thorn in?
I think my prediction is already getting turned over here.
Ula was your pick?
Ole has more. I don't think he has more than like 10 or 15% to win this at this point.
Yeah. All right. 8 mana for Metalworker. Now, what do you do with this 11 mana? Leads with the Thorn.
That shuts down any Force of Will.
Yeah. Force of Will is now impossible.
Probably just Lodestone into Revoker now, right?
Yeah, wow. I love it. Sure, he can play the Lodestone and he can play the Revoker. And now naming Sapphire is pretty good because there's a Thorn and a Lodestone pinching Ula's mana.
Yeah, then we have 2 Spheres in play, and Ole is down to 2 mana sources. I mean, obviously he doesn't know that Ole has all mana in his hand, but
right,
that's what I would do right now. Yeah, that's what he does. I think this member...
Yeah.
Wow.
Done. I don't think he was at 0%, but he's in terrible, terrible shape there. And he knows he's holding a handful of land, so...
That was still a pretty... I mean, I guess it's like 6 a.m. in Sweden, and he just wants to get it done or something.
I think it's 3 or 4, but sure.
No. It's way later than that.
I think it's not 6. It's like 9 hours.
Is it 6 p.m. Pacific now, or 7?
6 Pacific.
Oh, okay, yeah, then it's 3 a.m. Yeah, never mind.
Still, David Ochoa, ladies and gentlemen, every decision seemed super on point. I mean, it helps when you draw Black Lotus. I guess you draw multiple Black Lotuses if you want to count the workshops, but Ula had his Black Lotuses too, and they just were not good enough. Ula had Force of Will Black Lotus in both of his draws by the time David got a turn, and David just had more.
Yeah, naming the deck Faden in game 1 was very good.
Yeah,
I probably would have named Black Lotus there, and then might have lost to the deck.
I feel like that game 1 was very losable from David's seat. He had to kind of thread the needle, precisely navigate that system. But he is through. We can pull up the bracket and see what's going on now. Rade has been eliminated. We're down to 3 potential new members of the Vintage Super League. David Ochoa will advance, and now he gets to wait and he gets to watch, because we don't know who he's going to play next. He is either going to be playing Nick Detweiler or Reed Duke. Specifically, he gets the loser of their match, which is going to be coming up next. Now, do you think he has a specific rooting interest here? Or does he just figure he's got to go through both of them to win this tournament anyway, so whatever?
I think his and Nick's deck list are almost identical.
Yeah, they're similar.
No, I think no. Never mind that. Like, Nick has no Wormcall engines, no duplicants, and no Crucible of Worlds. So I probably like David a lot in that mirror match.
Interesting.
I mean, not a lot. I mean, but like
Yeah, you
David
think
has some trumps, and like Nick has 7 cards for Dredge, which David just kind of ignored. I guess he has 4 Gravedigger's Cage.
Interesting. Of course, on the other hand, if David gets Reed, it means Reed already lost to Shops once. So maybe Reed's a little softer to Shops than he says he is.
Well, Shops against the Storm deck is just so much about the die roll. I mean, that's insane. Like, if Storm wins the die roll, it's probably 70%, and if Shop wins the die roll, it's probably 60%. So, I mean, the die roll is so big.
Well, that's what we got up next. It's going to be Reed Duke versus Nick Detweiler to see who goes 3-0 and pulls within 1 match win of a spot in the Vintage Super League. Stay tuned, guys. We will be right back with match number 2.
With Hookah Trade, the world is your trade binder.